Tonight we continue honoring Black History Month by focusing on a part of our city that played a critical role in shaping the Indianapolis Black identity, the Old Southside. Tonight, Dustin Grove takes a closer look at its significance and the legacy that lives on all these years later.
South of Monument Circle, beyond the place's most postcards show, lies a part of Indianapolis with a history many Hoosiers have never heard.
It is a little bit of a hidden history of Indianapolis, a little bit of an invisible history.
Its streets carry stories largely forgotten.
If you drive around the perimeter today, you could see the remnants of what used to be.
This is it, huh?
Yeah, this is a family home.
But Beverly Kahn has worked her entire life to make sure we remember.
Our story is something we want people to know about.
Beverly grew up here in the neighborhood known as the Old Southside. So did her parents. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this was more than just a neighborhood. It was a foundation. For Black families migrating from the South after the Civil War, it became a place of opportunity.
I think this was a community that really was very self-sufficient in many ways.
Professor Susan Hyatt has studied its history for years. She says the Black community flourished here with businesses, social clubs, and churches. But there's something else that made this place even more unique.
What's very distinctive about this neighborhood is at a time when Indianapolis was still, very much a Jim Crow city. There were a lot of very integrated spaces in this neighborhood.
The Old South Side was known as the Ellis Island of Indiana.
There was a Greek community down here too. There were Italians, and further south you get into the German community.
Some of the remnants still here today.
Shapiro's is kind of the last vestige of what was a very vibrant Jewish shopping district.
They say this really was a place where you could lean on each other for support. If you needed help, you never had to go very far, you just went next door. Despite its strength, though, the Old South Side was not immune to the forces that would eventually reshape a lot of minority neighborhoods across America.
The interstate, caused so much damage in so many neighborhoods all over the country.
In the 60s and 70s, interstate highways cut through communities. Homes were demolished, families pushed out.
All of our friends and families and cousins whose homes and stuff are now under the interstate.
On-ramps, off-ramps, and express lanes dissected the neighborhood.
You would come home and you would see these big letters on someone's home, which meant that property was going to be demolished and torn down, and nobody was ever coming back to that property. Your friends were not ever coming back. So, you kind of think there are cousins, there are friends, there are relatives, and that was very traumatic.
In later years, urban renewal would continue to spread, eventually including construction of Lucas Oil Stadium. Today, traces remain of what was, in the foundations of old houses, in churches still standing, and in the memories of those who refused to let the past disappear.
We're resilient.
Every first Saturday in August, Beverly, her family, and neighbors, past and present, all gather at Babe Denny Park.
For 50 years, which is what I have on here, is that we come back to that little park and you bring your family and you reminisce.
Because what could never be destroyed here was the legacy that lives on.
The Neighborhood Association is still very active in preserving their history and improving what's still there. A renovation project is underway right now at Babe Denny Park.